No. Well, I think we can start with Oksana, who was giving us a presentation, and if Sandra will join us later, then he can still give his performance later. Okay, so Oksana, are you ready? I will introduce you now.
Yes, please. Hello.
Yeah, hello. So Ukrainian artist Oksana CHEPELYK is a leading researcher of the New Technologies Department, Modern Art Research Institute of Ukraine, and curator of International Festival Social Sculpture in Kiev. She is the author of the book from 2009, The Interaction of Architectural Spaces, Contemporary Art and New Technologies. And we will be listening to Oksana's presentation today, Drift from Immersive Environments to VR, Ukrainian projects on Mozilla hubs.
So thank you for the presentation, and I will share my screen right now to be able to go to my presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So the topic drift from immersive environments to actually VR, and focusing on Ukrainian project on Mozilla hubs. I would like to start from the background because Archive of Tama in his media archaeology, he introduced us media archaeology prototype approach in immersive space with his research of panorama and diorama, which is mostly derived from cinema field. We have here the image of Richard Buckminster Fuller in his studio, who is working on his dome research and building it finally. Here we can see this American pavilion in Montreal. And also this idea was used practically by Stan Vanderbeek in his movie dome, actually. And Jean Youngblood in his expanded cinema book, also with the introduction by Buckminster Fuller, was inspired by this idea, and he also approached the idea of holography. So this is everything is what is based on cinema. Then we have also the research by our invited wonderful guest Christian Powell in her digital art book of 2003. Already some media art examples of immersive environment by Jeffrey Shaw, the Legible City, and the others like Be Now Here, like a drift by Gilbert, Torrington, Walczak, Feinberg, Igor, Erwin Red, Matrix, Marco Pelhan, Karsten Nikolai, Polar, Asymptote, Flu, Spaces, Nobotic Research, also with dialogue with Nobotic South, Tendency, Michael Neymar Place, User Manual, Luc Corchez, The Visitor Living by Numbers. And my particular interest focusing on the immersive space also because in 2011 I started with my big Collider project focusing on the spaces where happened some historical event which influence our present and influencing our future, trying to build this environment that the people can feel. So it's kind of referring to sensoria, to feel the energy of the people and to feel this event. And so in this project, I'm combining my approach, colliding or combining or merging quantum physics as a physical collider where the particle collides with the search for public spaces where the human being collides. And using this approach, I also built this metaphysical time space. And this is the fragment of microvolts, so the small fragment of Calabi-Yau manifold, which is cis-dimensional time space, which is attached to our three-dimensional in each point. So I try to bring this microvolt into the macro and to build immersive environment, also compressing this compressing this public space into the stream, referring to the idea of liquid modernity by Zygmunt Bauman. And I think I cannot move my presentation. I remember that yesterday Christian Paul had the same problem, and we tried to solve it. Could you help me, please, how to deal with? Should I restart the?
I just unshared your screen, so now reshare it, and it should fix the problem. And I'll do that again if I need to.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is the compressed stream of the public space. The project I did in Taiwan in 2018, there were like two spaces with two screens and this immersive environment. And this is neural network, the installation I did during Carbon Media Art Festival in 2019. And I continue with the metaphysical time space project in Ukraine, in the Museum of Ivano-Frankivsk, hanging those structure. And I want to show a small video. This is immersive space by Vijay Yarkus, Living Energy, during the Carbon Media Art Festival. We had actually wonderful space with the maquette of mine.
Yes.
And here it's real build real mine, and this is the entrance of this cylinder. And this is my project Refraction of Reality in the Museum of Contemporary Art, Corsak's Museum in Lutsk, and I also want to show
Refraction in physics is a refraction of light rays. Refraction in astronomy, the imaginary displacement of the celestial body. Refraction in physiology is an ability of the optical system of an eye to refract the light rays to change their direction. The project explores the refraction of reality vice versa social myopia, where myopia is the type of refraction that indicates nearsightedness. The Refraction of Reality project deals with the issue of liquid modernity by Zygmunt Bauman, when uncertainty becomes a constant and fluidity a new urgency. Will the space of balance exist? Refraction in physics is...
So this is installation made in Chernobyl zone on this Riga radar by the person in Kostenko. It's a laser show which become to be immersive space because of the size of this radar. And this is their Kostenko and Voloshin actually radiation performance also as an immersive with the laser show during Artifact Chernobyl event. And from like the recent time, we moved from the immersive environment to VR. And here this is script by Ivan Svetlichny, and he collects some environmental data and make this sculpture, which is size of which depend on this data. Mikita Shaleni built his VR project, which is, you see, doesn't like really represent very technological, and it is based on his aquarelle actually. And since the pandemic, we are all experience different and experimenting on different VR platforms. As you like Mozilla Hubs, WebXR, AltSpace, VR, ArtSpace, Kunstmatrix, CryptoVoxels, and Artifact Chernobyl with Madatak in Madrid also built this project in 2020 on Mozilla Hubs. This is performance by made with the tilt brush by Taisia Kabaeva. And it was built the place which is replicates the Pripyat space in front of the palace of culture, and each room of this palace has its own space. You can see the representation of the project of each artist, and there were about more than 50 artists involved, building their room and reflecting the Chernobyl also problematic in the contemporary context, dealing with the fake and propaganda, because the Chernobyl was not about the Chernobyl, people in Ukraine and in USSR were not informed immediately. This is the project by Tim Voronkin, and it's built the power plant made out of these newspaper articles. And what is amazing about this project, the Tim Voronkin is 15 years person. He just know the unity, and he built conceptually a very strong project. This is Kopelov, and he made around the globe his photo of different animals, and his project about the Ark Chernobyl, which has become to be like really full of the animal while the people are not there anymore. And I also built my Genesis project within the Chernobyl artifact, but included into my Collider project as well. And another piece which is also referring to my metaphysical time space with this kind of Möbius structure with two versions, with the confinement image for Mozilla Hubs and with the video for Madatak, which is based on the another engine. And here we can see the area of Chernobyl and cooling town of Riga. So this is the VR collider, which should be built in real time in real space in Berlin, but due to pandemic, it removed and was restructured to Mozilla Hub's project.
Build up platform that is hang over the planet Earth and captures the vibrations of time and space. I wanted to work with the topic of events that have taken place in public spaces and have influenced both our present and future. My first collider happened in Dallas, USA, then were Los Angeles, Moscow, and Kyiv Orange Revolution. It's an image of radiation that resists and the confinement tries to time it. I call it radiation timer. Collider combines both the revolution of dignity, Kyiv 2013-14 on the right, and the Almaty collider. Back in 1986, protest events happened in Almaty. The protest that we knew nothing of had occurred before Bloody Sunday in Vilnius 1991 and Tbilisi massacre 89. We see the sphere, the Sarajevo collider that refers to 1914, which means it's been a century between Kyiv and Sarajevo colliders. The last one refers to the time when the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand happened and the World War I began, leading to the subsequent division of the world map, the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the emergence of new states. In the collider space, one can see Mariupol and Slavyansk on the right hand. On each of the platforms, there is a map. Sarajevo collider combines two events, the second one being the Bosnian War 1992. Namely, it is the shelling of the National Library in Sarajevo that was first fired upon. There was no military need to shell it, but the cultural memory of Bosnia and Herzegovina was preserved there. And those manuscripts that were stored inside were the first to burn. And on the left, there are cities of Berlin, Germany, and Lutsk, Ukraine, that represent the east and the west of the collider platform. Berlin platform, where the Berlin Wall collapses, also represents the euphoria of freedom at that moment. However, with all those structures, I also ask questions in such a way that could show that Ukraine found itself behind the wall of the European Union, found itself isolated, found itself alone with the current aggression and occupation. The project is about giving the voice. It is kind of bell that announces that we cannot turn a blind eye to the problem and events that take place in the heart of Europe. And this structure in the project is not only space for demonstrating installations, it's demonstrate the space and time that is not linear. It has a rather bizarre configuration indicating a complex relationship with space and time. The double modus includes video that relates to the maritime nations, Venice, Odessa collider, and the episode from Cetinje, Montenegro, where fragments of the King Nicola I's coronation are involved. It means that we are talking about the formation of the states. Kingdom of Montenegro has existed for 8 years until 1918, when it lost its statehood. All of the aforementioned sounds very similar to the history of Ukraine, the statehood of which once existed for 3 years from 1917 to 1921. This architectural rose on the facade is a reference to medieval cathedrals. In fact, we are talking about the return to the Middle Ages, when the norms of civilization no longer work, while force is predominant in solving problems. With the help of quantum physics, it's possible to explain the processes that occur in consciousness on both planetarium and social scales. This means that with the help of quantum physics we can understand the existence of two matrices that are in superposition. All mankind would appear in one of them if each individual made a conscious choice. There are two very distinct spoiled tips in Slavyansk, the iconic image of the city. Here on this spoiled tips appeared the collider near the city council, which was sized in Slavyansk and Semenivka, where the Russian militant troops were located. The project asks, are people just elementary particles in the system of accelerating global forces, or the energy of interaction can generate new means, new thoughts, new type of social relations and life on Earth? I invite the viewer to the Chernobyl room. This Chernobyl room with a fragment of the Genesis project that stands for secluded city abandoned in the zone of alienation 35 years ago. We are flying over the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Pripyat. The walls of the room show an ultrasound examination of the fetus, while this area works as a real-time birth rate monitoring in the country. Every 1.5 minutes, a child is born in Ukraine. In this installation, each new birth is reflected by a sharp signal taken from an ultrasound examination of a human artery. In simple words, it is the sound of the heartbeat. This was the signal of the birth of a child just now. Here, every technological element, including ultrasound, has to do with the human body, just as all Chernobyl history has to do with the human body, soul, history, and memory. That is why it is important in the context of Pripyat as an abandoned city to talk about the future, about birth rate in Ukraine, and to involve this room with Pripyat in the VR Collider project, because it is also relates to the city and border. It relates to our past and our future as well. Build up platform that
and here the last short example, we are experimenting because Mozilla Hubs doesn't have the characteristic and quality to deal with a liquid environment with like video and transparency. To build another platform which can be used as a for VJing actually in real-time experimenting with 3D environment where all those structures can react on sound. On the sound and kind of VJ with the 3D those models. So it's another opportunity to deal with the web VR in real time. Actually, I think my time is over, and this is the examples of NFT or also built on this kind of VR experiments that were introduced during the third blockchain art hackathon. So this is the short overview of kind of small part of Ukrainian experiments on web VR. And thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Thank you for your presentation. And do we have a question from the audience?
I have one.
Please.
I'm just wondering, do you write all of your own code working in Unity 3D, or do you have a helper?
Well, it's a team because like nowadays the media art it's like mostly the collective work. So we have a couple of people who are involved with coding, and like everyone is responsible for its part of the work. For sound, one is responsible for visual part and for programming as well.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Was this move towards the VR environments connected to COVID? But why did this shift happen?
Yeah, sure. The COVID like provoked us. This was the necessity to continue with our experiment, and I'm particularly was very interested in this building immersive environments. And from my perspective, it was kind of very useful to move to VR. But as soon as we could not actually during 2020 to deal with the exhibition spaces, but still to continue to work, we moved to web VR, and we discovered the characteristic of, for example, Mozilla hubs about this limitation. So to build the immersive environment, it's become to be not very, very easy there. So we start to experiment with the possibility, and particularly as I'm dealing with the video, and I'm trying to bring video also into Mozilla hubs. Mozilla hubs that doesn't support video that much, because my idea was to build the surface, like different type of complex surface with the video, but Mozilla hubs support only the flat screens. That's why I built this pyramid structure built as a kind of ancient multi floor structure to improvise with this immersive space. And also to keep this idea about sensoria, to bring people and try them to feel those events as you are inside of this space, as you are inside on this plaza or on this square participating on those events. So this is actually the way the pandemic provoked us.
Yes, thank you. And I will applaud.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. It's a wonderful, wonderful work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Very, very nice to hear about it. And now we move towards the next speaker. And I think Sander is still not here. So Jānis Garančs, are you ready? Okay. I will now give a quick introduction, and then we can move to the presentation. So, Latvian artist Jānis Garančs works with interactive multimedia installations and performances and virtual reality. Since the year 2000, Jānis Garančs is focusing on stereoscopic images, immersive 3D sound, and combination of programmed algorithmic structures and spontaneous gestures and live improvisation. And today we will listen to Jānis Garančs' presentation, Simulated Sensorium for Immersive Mappings of Ephemeral Values in Time. So sorry. Okay, Jānis, giving the stage to you.
Do you have the presentation on? Do you see my slide, first slide?
Yes.
Is it working? Okay, thank you. So my presentation has relevance to the theme with the title, obviously, that refers to sensorium and as kind of simulated environment, and the ephemeral values. It's a story about changes of time over changes of value over the time that we experience through mediated infrastructure. And so this image is actually part of an older project I did with my study colleagues, and it kind of shows the feedback loop between visual senses and the physiology of the brain as part of the sensorium that is manipulated through technology, which nowadays is in a way kind of increasingly obscure, despite let's say popular science education, and there are a lot of proprietary technologies involved, but nevertheless they become part of our life. And so just to finish with the previous scheme, that's the physical object we made around 2002, which we used old EEG device, which reads physiological reaction of vision through electricity change in head skin, which was measured and then fed back to the computer and visualized creating some kind of feedback loop. Today I'm introduce a theme which is has been following me for several years, and I'll just explain briefly the background of this topic for me, and which is financial and stock trading as part of centuries-long history of manipulation. It's a manipulation of narrative, and in a way, it's increasingly manipulation of information and even sensory apparatus that we experience through either media or like personal solitary experience with through computer networks and so on. It is also motivated by a reemergent and growing prominence of gambling factor in global economic activities. It's institutional promotion of investment products for masses, like starting from pension funds and stocks, and more recently crypto trading, online casinos, and it's some philosophers or economists, they talk about emergence of a casino economy, that it's taking increasing share of economic activities. And so I'll show also some examples of audiovisual artworks and examples from industry that try to mention this, and also briefly my current and future work. Also, I'll start with mention a few more quotes that Michael Sandel, political philosopher, in his book "What Money Can't Buy," the moral limits of markets, he postulates that in the last 3 decades, especially in United States, where he thinks that we society is moving from market economy to becoming a market society, where there's many aspects of social life is becoming quantified into some kind of tradable asset or exchange for either money or other resources. And he in his book there was some kind of a worrisome reflection on this trend. And and the value is it appears that the also value storage and trading infrastructure increasingly merge with methods of manipulation through of human attention and emotions, and it's increasingly mediated by computer networks and artificial intelligence. And George Simmel, he postulates that the reality and value are mutually independent categories through which our conceptions become images of the world. The value is not necessarily kind of natural. There's disparity between the natural value and perceived value. So I will not go too deeper in the few more theories. Most of us of audience probably are familiar with, from Marshall McLuhan, improvement of sensorium through technologies, or Ray Kurzweil, enhancing natural senses and transcending them. Somewhat newer is theory about synesthesia, which I mentioned a little bit later. And quite often, in my presentations, I still show this picture from beginning of the century about a few imaginative future comfort, where we have all access sitting in a comfy chair, and we have all kind of technology that mediates the reality outside, starting from news to a fresh breeze of Atlantic Ocean and access to the news, opera, theater, just being at home. And so this kind of experience, it it actually it comes again together with different kind of economic activities, and which have experienced, of course, these cyclic events or bubbles, and these bubbles usually also bring they have some certain emotional aspect to them, that which is part of the game, the part of the system of the sensorium, which involves a measurement of estimates of information, what people process through our physiological machine, which is mind and nervous system. And when we talk about these bubbles, we have a different kind of phases which we experience, starting from interest, and then which grows into some kind of euphoria and sense of danger, and even panic. And of course, we all know that with the computer trading and even just using internet, the machines are watching the users actually basically every click and time, and there are newer technologies being investigated. This is an example from Dolby Labs, where they talk about when they are researching how to make movies kind of responding to human condition, human experience. So while humans were watching some movie or material, they there were many cameras watching the person itself and measuring temperature, galvanic skin electricity changes, and many other parameters. And I think we will be experiencing additional layer of this sensorium that will be grow around us, either being in specific environments or just by using some daily items. So looks like I have to run through a quicker. Most of us are familiar with these charts from financial trading, and there are specific ways to analyze them. I'll mention here that there is, for example, mentioning that in certain periods of time, these values they go kind of in a way kind of chaotic movement, but then certain big events they become all kind of connected together in a way that it doesn't reflect their previous value. Well, there was mentioning of particular period of time, and the prediction, the will to predict. Of course, it's quite has a monetary value, and there have been a number of decades long research into trying to predict these different chaotic movements, and they've been trying to categorize, trying to find out the patterns, and but this at the same time it has it's a growing opinion that actually it's mostly to works as a kind of analyzing it post factum and kind of speculate about the future. It's increasingly difficult as the human emotions are actually sometimes being replaced by algorithms themselves, which predict the predictions and sort of create additional feedback loops, which sometimes go out of the let's say kind of there's almost no logic in it, and in addition, as part of the game, there's increasing evidence that for stock trading or especially cryptocurrency trading, which is not regulated in many parts of the world, they are organized groups who to play with emotions and to manipulate the let's say poor traders who are somewhere sitting around in another part of the screen, side of the screen. Here's the one. So there's, I will not also mention there is a certain a new area of research about analyzing these so-called pump and dump schemes, and it has beyond the data, it has even let's say still some kind of a vocal. This I would like to mention as a kind of example of the voice of the market. I can see there's something happening. And over the course of the events, when it becomes quite desperate, at some point it becomes like you will hear it yourself. So I would like to also mention the flow state by Csikszentmihalyi, that is somewhere, you know, we oscillate between, especially doing some kind of demanding task, we oscillate between challenge and skill, between anxiety and boredom, and somewhere in between there's this optimum sense flow state, and which is also still quite influenced by our part of the sensorium, which is controlled by training or cultural codes, and therefore notion of ideesthesia as a kind of phenomena where activation of concepts evoke perception-like experiences. So it is also some kind of a continuum between idea and experience. I'll have to skip through. So I would like to show some examples how, for example, the stock trading has been. There've been efforts to kind of visualize or make it, let's say, either more useful or more experienceable as metaphors of a landscape, which not always have been really useful for traders or market and analysts, but nevertheless it kind of indicates the trend that that more sensory inputs are being used apart from mostly visual, and a few artworks which also now from art cultural field. I would like to mention this project by Rhizomatics from Japan, traders and newer iteration chains about blockchain transactions, and some of them use sound and image, and there is one example from some kind of maybe not exactly artwork, but making a tone, pitch reflecting particular value of the stock at a certain point of the time. Okay. And later, it obviously became higher pitch. Which itself, it's kind of a little like a toy, but to show the range of approaches, there's another project by Joshua Portway and Liz Autogena, which has a title and the meaning as a kind of planetarium, where the individual stocks are not visualized in any kind of linear or event or geometrical structure, but as a kind of endless flow of events which are experienceable as a no, that you catch the moment where, you know, sudden activity. Yeah, this is the example from Rhizomatics of this Japanese project. So I will briefly mention my own project and extend more video. Probably I'll upload later on the festival's YouTube channel. But here there are some aspects I will be working with kind of simulated synesthesia, where these phenomenological mechanisms of creating interconnections between sound and image. There's, of course, it's kind of speculative dimension in it, but there have been some efforts which are worth visiting. And there's this other project I did around 2004, which had measuring of together with other colleagues, measuring of persons' excitement by walking around the city, and we try to visualize that and putting on a map together with other views of the city, so the experiencing the moment. And I'm working on kind of hierarchy of audiovisual data organization, which has a kind of global timeline in the upper part, you see, and so going lower to the different kind of elements which would describe specific relationship through sound parameters and volume and frequency. And so these are little etudes. I'm just kind of technically working with the translating some stock data, taking in real time, and then kind of making a kind of coordinate system which reflects these multiple relationships. And so it will be some kind of like fusion of information display and experience, which has is on a threshold of over kind of sensory overload, and the different parts of the room would be became like a the gallery space would become like an interface for either observing it passively, and I'm thinking about making a kind of a terminal where people could maybe invest like little money, like €1 or something, and they would could measure their own excitement of kind of creating this feedback loop with their own emotions, kind of trading it in real time. Not just observing it from a side. So these are some screenshots. I'm still working on the video, and so maybe, yeah, if there's some few questions, I'll leave it to my presentation now. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see it, your work on new things, and it's still very interesting how different we can experience something from like a data from an Excel sheet, and when you just add some bleeps and bloops to it. So I always still find it quite exciting. Are there questions from the audience? If we don't have questions, then we will move on. Thank you, Jānis. So DEMITERE Kasteridou, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, and is a Greek multidisciplinary artist exploring new languages in composition that examines tactile and sound aspects within site-specific art installations paintings, and improvisation. Most recently, she's working on improvised sound compositions with interactive handmade synthesizers. And her presentation today is Surfaces in Becoming. Very intriguing. So we are all looking forward to hearing from you. And don't forget to share sound and optimize for video if you're showing video. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm not going to use video. I'm going to present a sound installation and a small performance piece, which is part of my research. I'm working with mainly with handmade synthesizers that they're turning electricity into sound. And through that, I'm using conductive materials. Some conductive materials, for instance, it's clay. I have here a small sculpture of clay from which electricity is going to pass through and is going to create a rhythm for me to start working. So it sounds a bit like this. So now we hear the electricity goes through the material and becoming like rhythm sound. The rest, I have some small circuits that they have light sensor, and now I'm going to perform a bit with materials and the environment, and I hope you can listen to it in the best quality that is possible. Thank you for listening. I don't know if you could hear it good enough. It's lo-fi anyway, because there are a lot of, let's say, parasites interfering with the materials and in the room, and the light plays a big role. So that was a sound synthesis using anorganic matter and organic, and yeah, in between the body, the materials, the light, and it was an improvisation, a symbiotic improvisation.
Thank you very much for your performance. It was
Thank you.
very, very pleasant to listen to. Like, it was for me at least, felt almost meditative. I kind of listen to this before going to bed. So that's how it felt for me. So
Well, thank you. Yeah.
thank you. It was very, very relaxing, and I think my mind just went somewhere else. So now I have to snap back and kind of wake up again. Thank you. Do we have comments or questions from the audience? If not, then can we listen to these performances? Is there are you making recordings? Are there something available?
Yes, I'm making some recordings and there are some videos, few though, because it's improvisation, so I'm not documenting as much. So my research, you can find it in my website. I can upload it somewhere if you're interested in listening to that. And apart from that, I'm making some sound sculptures and performances.
Thank you. And we have also a question in the chat. Could you describe what was happening out of the frame? So what exactly were you doing to make the noises?
Yes. So I can show you a bit. For instance, the circuits, I'm trying to keep them open. So I'm building them from the scratch with, for instance, this has a symbol 555 timer. And then I'm using a battery and this creates a frequency, like an ongoing frequency of sound. So what I'm doing is like I'm taking apart, let's say, a cable from this, and then I'm reattaching it through the material. So the material in this installation is clay. Clay is a conductive material, and especially when it's different. It has a different rhythm when it's dry, a different rhythm when it's wet. So here I'm reattaching these cables to the clay, and so it's making the conduction again. So the clay works as a cable itself. It remakes the circuit, but because it has resistance as material as well, then this is how we can hear the rhythm of it. So instead of being like an ongoing frequency, like you cut it, and then it's becoming rhythm. And through this, I can improvise on with other circuits as well. Some circuits have light sensors, let's say. So depending on how the light or shadow falls on them, they're also changing the value of the frequencies, the chromatics of it. And so I'm using some pedals as well, some contact microphones that I have attached in materials. For instance, this, I'm working like really analog. I like the sense of it because you can always, you never know what is going to happen. And this, like normally is improvisation, it's really interesting. So for instance, this is a contact microphone. So it's in the on the surface, so you can like when you're touching something or when you're hitting it, you can just, it amplifies the sound. So with these little instruments, I'm building up a performance improvisation, and it's also really meditative for me. And it has the sense that you're working with the materials, you're in a system, and everything is kind of rhizomatically connected. I don't know if I answered the question.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Technical.
And,
Thank you.
and good luck with your performances. And
Thank you.
make more recordings for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will now welcome our last speaker before the big webcam. And I will now introduce Paula. Paula with Experiencing the Electricity. Paula Viitola is a Latvian media artist based in Liepāja, mainly interested in art as research and media archaeology. Her recent artworks explore artistic applications of recording and playing sound using light. So, Paula, you can start your presentation performance.
So thank you for the previous presentation, which was also a little bit in a similar matter of making synthesizers. And since, as far as I know, almost or even all synthesizers are technically converting electricity to sound. And the ways of making this electricity into a sound can be very, very different depending on the methods you choose. And I am definitely not a synthesizer expert or anything, but I want to tell you about my latest, not the latest, but my ongoing project where I explore how to gather and get different kinds of sounds using light. And about what does it mean for me and what does it mean to experience electricity in this kind of method, in this kind of project. Because I'm not only making synthesizers and with this light, but I'm also doing it as an educational project. I'm doing workshops and stuff and trying to help people experience and see what exactly is going on, how the sound is creating, how you can actually see the frequencies being made by with this light, and how you can actually feel and understand and therefore perceive the electricity in a more embodied way. I don't know. It's like people. I had this project, so I will just show you it a little bit, what it does, and then later explain why does it mean for me that this is one of the ways to actually experience, not only hear or see or feel it through like some abstract concepts. So yes, there are two videos for me. So I'm not sure which one are you looking at? I have my phone camera on here as well. So that one will have that one has a clear view on what I'm doing now. I will take this like this as well, maybe. No. So yes, please look at the second camera. Have you found it? We'll see it. The phone one. So yeah, here you can see I have a shadow, and here are some stuff. So I have some discs, and when each of them are rotating, it's technically, when they are rotating, they are becoming technically a stroboscope. So there's a light going through, and every time when it rotates, it creates a frequency of light, because the motion creates this frequency because there are so many holes. And then we get the shadow and light frequency changing all the time. So depending on the speed, how fast the disc is rotating, you can hear the sound. So I hope you will hear it well. Just a second. Can you hear the sound? Maija, can you hear the sound?
Yes,
Yes.
I can hear the sound, but unfortunately, I can't spotlight you. So those who are listening, you can pin Paula yourself to see better.
I have my phone camera, so that's where the video is coming from. But can you hear the sound when you turn up? Tell me if you didn't hear it.
It's a bit noisy, but we heard it better when it was a bit more quiet.
That was good.
I think now it's a bit too quiet.
So I'm not sure if you can see clearly, but what's making what I'm using as a microphone is a very, very simple thing, which you are all probably very familiar with. And it's a solar panel, and that is all it has. The solar panel is directly connected to the speaker, which in this case is, for me, the easiest tool to use for this is guitar amplifier, which has the, and so it's basically just the speaker with maybe sometimes some effects. And yes, it is directly connected to the audio jack, and there's nothing in between. So what I'm getting is just exactly the frequency that I'm getting out of the shadow, and it's generated with this solar panel. And the motion is what's creating the frequency, because the light that's coming in the solar panel becomes a sound signal. So electrical signal becomes a sound signal. And basically any sound signal that's connected to the speaker is electrical signal that is modulated as a sound signal. And all of those things are quite easy, that may be easy to understand technically, but when people or me or others, because I'm going around with this project and offering people to just play around with it and experience themselves. So they come here, they turn on on the discs, and they're playing around, and they don't really understand how it works, but that very, very quickly they kind of actually get it. So a person who has never ever learned about any of these things, they can quite easily get and understand how can you get all of those different frequencies and what does it actually mean to make a frequency, because here you can very clearly see visually, there are different holes when they're rotating. You can see the light moving very fast. So that explains and kind of makes it also visually and with all the other senses more understandable how what's actually happening there. Because I was never ever interested. I was interested in sound, but I could never understand how can a person work with the sound. Like how can you think of it out of nowhere and generate it? But in this case, I can very clearly see that what's actually happening when the sound will become higher, when it will become lower, or how can I mix those frequencies, and you can actually see at which point when I'm mixing the frequencies, where I can place my solar panel to get the exact frequency I want, or create these effects with motion. So I'm trying to turn them on again because there are some effects that are quite not maybe that easy to get with a computer or anything else, but with the slight motion you can get them in a very, very simple manner to just creating this light shadow that is moving over there. And you can see different kind of patterns happening when you cross the, I'm not sure if you can see well from that side, so I can, but you can see the shadow itself. So I have my second shadow, yeah. See, so there are two shadows crossing, and when I move them, I can change the tone. So I created these very simple tools that are quite easy to use and understand, and of course they are a bit improvised for me because I can never predict clearly what the sound is going to be like, but I have a sense of what it might sound like when I see the shadow itself. So I'm not planning or calculating or whatever. I'm not making the frequencies like that. I'm trying to see the shadow, how fast it's moving, and trying to get from that what the sound might be like. Is it lower? Are there like two tones, one tone? So whatever's going on there, I can see. And of course, you can get a similar effect with any kind of moving light. So a lot of you here probably know that general frequencies and light and motion and what those things are. But I also have made some simple stroboscopes for creating different kind of lights, different kind of sounds that are more on and off sounds. Of course, with camera, you have a different kind of visual feed in because the camera also has a frequency. So that means that the signal will be what you see. So this technology itself is very, very old. And that's why I mentioned my interest in media archaeology, because actually I found this technology from a really, really long time ago, because the photoacoustics were invented by Alexander Graham Bell, and also more than 150 years ago, when he created a telephone that works with light. So from that I got very interested in how can you get any sound with light, because that really connects well all possible, like the sound, the light, and electricity, how they are connected, and how can you manipulate them all together, and then kind of understand what are those physical processes are, and also do it in this playful manner. So this project got quite a lot of interaction from audience, and a lot of questions and discussions and understanding of physics and whatever they have learned in school or whatever, because when you learn about those things in school, they feel like very distant. And the way we are using technology now, that are hidden, usually very, very hidden, very small electronics, so the technological world feels kind of here, but it feels like unnatural and very, very far. And people also don't really think that they are even capable of understanding them too well, because they seem so complicated, and the way those things are taught in school are also often unnecessarily complicated without any kind of simple real life examples, or just any like, of course it depends on school or anything, but at least that's a lot of people's experience here. So yeah, I am really enjoying this project myself, and thinking of more ways to create these tools and instruments of creating different kind of sounds and make them in a way that they are also usable for others, like people can just come and play them. So yeah, I hope I think I told most what I was thinking, just telling you. I hope you heard my sounds, but but if you didn't, I have some videos online. If you like to see or hear them, I don't know, you can look up my YouTube, I guess. So yeah, any questions?
Thank you for your performance. Maybe you can send the link in the chat.
For some videos, yes, I will send my latest, one of the latest, yeah. Sure.
Thank you. And thank you for explaining the value of your research, because as sound art is not always the most pleasant sounds to listening to, and this I always enjoyed your performances, because it's not just sound art, but there's also a meaning behind every signal that's coming out, and I think it's really awesome. Thank you.
I will do that at 11:50. So people who are back, they will then be able to see it. For the time being, I'm just going to have fun on my own. I can do I can play a game of Pong. One of the games I created. You can control it with your head. It's very difficult because it's a bit light here. Yeah, it's better. This is the classic Pong game, but it's a bit too difficult. I created an easier one. This is called Face Flipper. So sometimes you're in a Zoom session, but you have to wait, and then this helps. And I have one more, which is a very easy to use thing. It's called the recorder. I can, if I hold my head like this, then there's a few dots. If I now do something, I can just keep on talking.
And you can also just make yourself very, very still.
And when you flip your head like this, I'm back again.
This is now dangerous, as children in schools where they have Zoom lectures, they can just record themselves and.
Yeah. But of course, I mean, sometimes you want to be present, but not fully. So, for example, this one where you can hide your background, and or yourself if you want to pick your nose. This helps. It's one of the it's one of those face effects, face filter effects we see a lot these days. And I started programming them because there's this possibility to use a tool called Lens Studio. And you can create all these interactive effects on yourself. And I think we've been in sessions where people really start getting crazy with all these effects. And the funny thing is that during the pandemic, we all were like online, digitally connected. And that means that we were getting very close to our future reality of augmented reality. So these are some of the filters I created for presentations. And I think, of course, we're not wearing these kind of glasses yet, but we will in the future. And then everybody around us is going to be dressed up with digital items, and you'll be looking at the world with a heads-up display. It will tell you what you're looking at. So it actually really was speeding up that that development of these things at the time we were sitting at home. But at the same time, I think it's also a fun environment to start exploring. So I started, for example, creating this one for performance as well. If you have a digital counterpart, you know, yeah, you could play around a little. And this one, it's called Freak Me Out. So I was making all these effects, and they're fun to do on your own, but it's much more fun when you do it together. So if you have this bunch of people that are all activating face filters, and one is a rabbit, one is a talking potato, it's a big mess. But if you have one filter activated all together, when you have a synchronized grid of people using the same filter, that is very interesting. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to create a filter that's synchronized and that's doing something to people, and it's called the Zoom Ballet. Because what will happen at exactly 12 o'clock is that we're going to move around, but in a synchronous way. So you'll be moved to the side, and you're going to be split up between your screen and the screen of your neighbor. So that's what's going to happen. So for now, people who have installed the Snap Camera program, we have to now activate it inside our Zoom session. And therefore, I'm activating a virtual background. Yeah, so I hope you can see me now. And I'll point out, if you have activated the, let me see, it's a bit confusing now. Let's go back here. If you have activated Snap Camera in the background, if you go to the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a button. Sorry, it's a mirror mode. It's this one here, and you have to press the little arrow, and there you can click Snap Camera. And when that is done, your Zoom will display the video feed of the Snap Camera program. And then comes step 2, which is actually activating the Zoom Ballet session. So I'm gonna put on another virtual background to explain that one. Yeah, so when you have installed Snap Camera, then if you're in the Snap Camera program, you can search for things. So you can search for dog ears or funny head or something. But what we're going to do is we're going to paste a link there. So instead of a search, we're going to paste this whole link. And I'm going to put it also in the chat, because you have to copy paste that into the search field of the Snap Camera program. I will copy paste. So this full link, and if you do that, then there's one result which is called move, and if you click that one, that will activate the Zoom Ballet. There's a timer which is now counting down. I'm gonna go back to Snap Camera, and I'm gonna activate Ballet. All right. So now we can wait for 2 minutes, and then the session will start. So I'm going to look at the other people. So activate your webcam, select Snap Camera, and then copy paste the link into Snap Camera. And so far, I'm not seeing a screen like mine, but as you can see, I'm slowly moving down now. There are still 2 minutes left, and then the Zoom Ballet will start. There will be a new movement every minute, so you can just join and experience it for a while, and then have your break, because it's going to happen during the break. And this is also something you can do later on. It's a synchronized thing that runs indefinitely, but just a few, like the 15 minutes before each hour, it is in waiting mode to make sure that everybody is starting in a synchronous way. So we have 1.5 minutes left. I'm curious about the people who are now here. Janis, Rogier, Liga, Raivo. Just share in the chat if you find any problems, if it's not working. I'm sliding down slowly, but I'm still here. How are we doing? Because the Snap Camera program is available for PCs and Mac computers. Unfortunately, it's not available on. Hey, there's Carlis. Welcome. You're joining. Great. Yeah. So once again, this experience that we are going to have is about something you experience as a sort of a digital being present here in this space, and it's connected, it's synchronized, and especially last year when we were in rooms like this, like day after day, the fact that you were moving inside Zoom really felt like almost like your digital body was moving. Now it's maybe a bit different because we can finally go outdoors. There's 15 seconds left until it starts. Paula, you're maybe looking at the screen trying to configure. I think you have a filter activated.
I have.
Yeah. But now you have to copy paste this whole link, the whole Snapchat unlock link inside the search fields of your.
Where can I see that link?
I put it in the chat. I will
yeah, there are too many chats. I think. Okay. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, I was too late for. Yeah.
And yeah, you see, Carlis, we are reappearing now. We are in the first minute of Snap Ballet. I'll put on the music. It's just it's not music I wrote. It's a classic sort of 8-bit theme, but it just fits the thing that's happening now. Paolo, the link is it's sent to everyone, and I don't know if it's just in my.
No, if you hear me, I saw it and I see the link, but I'm not sure what am I supposed to do now.
Hey, and Liva, you're having Snap Camera activated too. Great.
Yeah.
And now, when you click on the program Snap Camera, you'll see a search field, and inside that search field, search lenses. It says.
And I have to find your filter.
Yeah, and the filter, it's the whole link. So what the link I sent in the chat to everybody, that whole link, you copy paste it, and you paste it into the search lenses field.
Ah, okay.
And then you see a thing, it's called move, and if you click move, then you're joining.
Oh, wow.
So it looks like this. So here you paste the link.
I have it.
Hey, Paolo, you made it. Good to see that you joined. Yeah. Beatrice, you also have a filter activated. Great. Liva, how are you doing?
I can't find the correct filter.
No, you can't find it by name. You have to paste this whole link, the Snapchat unlock link. So you copy paste this whole link and you put that one inside the search field. And then you get one result, which is called move. And then
okay, I will try it.
We're now in minute number 3. We're going sideways and up, down.
Yeah.
Liva, you made it. Great.
Yay.
You're here. Although you're in mirror mode, which is a bit weird for me, but Beatrice, you're almost there. You have the Snapchat activated, which is good, and now you have to copy paste this full link. So it's called HTTPS Snapchat unlock. And that's how, oh, you're there. Great. Who else is joining? So the ballet is a 10-minute a 10-minute series of effects that repeat themselves all the time. So we're now in minute number 4. And the last minute, it's going to be freestyle minutes where you can move yourself with head movements. But for now, this is it. So you're split in 4, but maybe you can try to be like one person together with your neighbor. If you sit right in the middle, and I wonder who's left of you, who's right of you. Yanis, you're almost there. I see the snap camera icon. But still something is wrong. Maybe do one restart of one of the programs. Perhaps give it a try. And how does it feel, Beatrice? How does it feel to bounce around inside the Zoom session?
Feeling dizzy.
Dizzy? Oh, well. Yeah, and Carlos, save that movement for the last part, for the freestyle session. Then you can move your thing around. That's great. Let me see who else is joining. Levi, you're bumping, which is, oh, yeah, you started a little early, no problem. But now I think the synchronization picks up. We're all going to bump around for a while. So especially when you're stuck behind a computer and there's no way to do some fitness, this could be really helpful. And you don't even have to do anything. That's even better. I was having a lot of doubt whether to make it all interactive or not. So I decided to have 9 minutes of just a relaxed moment, not having to do anything. Everything is automated for you through semi-digital being. And I think, Liva, you're in do-it-yourself mode now. So try to, for example, look left or look right, and you will see that you'll be able to move yourself. And it works by rotation. So not exactly the position of your head, but if you look left like this, or right, or up, then you're able to shift yourself around like a puzzle piece. And moving up is really difficult. That's the threshold is it's not easy to achieve. All right. I think the session, the ballet session is about to restart, but I think you did well. I'm really happy that you made it, that you made it through the install process and configuring it. And I also really hope that you enjoyed this. If you want to do this again in a session, in another session, then you're free to do so. It's available online. If you go to my website, then you will find links to how to install it. Oh, here's Joyce, and she is asking what to do next. And but I think we are in the break now, and we managed to do one successful session. So I will. I've put the link to this, the information there, and yeah, Joyce, you're waving. I'm waving back. Give it a try another time. But yeah, we are now restarting. Thanks a lot for joining, and I'm really happy. This is the second time ever this happened, and for me, it's always great to be able to put my scripts into effect into effect on other people. So yeah, thanks for letting that happen to you, and enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you very much. We can applaud in our weird webcams now. And it was a lot of fun, and this is excellent work. Very fun. And also not just fun, but also reminds us that we are all in this together, alone together.
Yeah, nice words. Great way to finish. Thanks.
Thank you. And we have successfully spent our break together. So we will start our next sessions now. Thank you.